Hi, everybody. How's it going? My name is Nigeria Chambers of Big Belt Media. It's a pleasure to talk to you all today about the new film, A Creature is Staring, which is going to be releasing December 12th. How's everyone doing today?
Doing
Good.
great. How are you?
Good, good. Um, this film was a very interesting watch. It hit me in two directions. It kind of tapped into my childhood nostalgia to a point, especially with the cinematography. But it was very mature in terms of the certain developments in the film, and then a twist that just kind of leaves you continuously guessing. I want to ask the three of you all, putting this film together, and obviously for the cast members and in terms of acting, what was just the excitement about the story and ultimately where were sort of levels of inspiration in terms of tackling it?
Levels of inspiration in terms of what?
In terms of tackling this.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was really drawn to this story because it checked all the boxes for me. So it has these really rich and well-developed characters. The script had a very particular voice. It deals with some heavy subject matter. It's a movie that's really about something. It talks, there's philosophical and religious arguments in it. And of
Yeah.
course, it's got an amazing monster. So because I like to make, I like movies with subtext. I like movies with some meat on their bones that aren't just
Same.
straight up slasher movies. So this was great. I was like, well, this has to be my next movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, the I basically everything Damien said and then some. I really enjoyed all of these characters, and I think the ideal reaction, at least for me as an actor reading a script, is as I'm reading it, if I start saying the lines because I just want to hear it performed. So whenever that happens, I know it's a movie I want to do. Because I always try to read it just as an audience member and not engage with the dialogue. But when I like it, I can't help myself. So I just start playing the scenes. And that's how I read this and I was like, fuck, I want to see this. Even if I'm not in it, like I'll watch it because I want to see what this turns into.
Yeah.
I was happy I got to be a part of it.
Yeah. I think the elephant in the room here has to be Chrissy's work. I think obviously she's the big introduction and really gets the film on the roll. And then once other characters get introduced, your Connor Scout, Annalise's character comes in, everybody just gravitates around her and just takes this to the next level. Connor, I want to ask you, and as Damon mentioned, in terms of just really being character based, when you knew you were going to be truly a part of sending this film into the second and third act in the way it does and really being a catalyst to the major twist that goes on. Talk to me about your excitement on that note, and just little nuances you wanted to bring to the film, uniquely to yourself.
I think, as we've said earlier, that there was a real excitement around it being such a small cast. A lot of times, and I've worked with Annalise in the past. I'm aware of how good she is. Personally, I've known Scout not well. We had met years before, but we have a lot of mutual friends in LA, so I know how talented she is. Obviously, I'm aware of Chrissy's work. We hadn't met, but I know she's really solid. And sometimes you always want to work with great people, obviously, but sometimes there's this sort of tragedy when you are on a set with great actors, but just because of the flow of the story, you don't get to work with all of them. So this I was really excited about because I knew I'd have time with everybody, and that's just not always the case.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm an actor because I don't just want to watch movies, I want to be in the scenes. So so that was really exciting, and then just I think um, every character in this movie has another element of the experience, and Kory is sort of out on his own island as being I don't know if he's necessarily the avatar for the audience, but he's about as close as you get as far as
Agreed.
someone looking around and going, this shit's pretty weird, man. Whereas else kind of takes it in stride,
Yeah.
especially his sister, who sort of, because of her religiosity, is prepared for supernatural things. You know, there's that
Yeah.
scene that's it's very emotional, but I always sort of found it funny where she just is like, "Oh, it's a demon. All right, exorcism." And that's not like a big leap for her. That was something she was prepared for. Whereas for Kory, he's sort of like exorcism. That's okay, really, all right. So I enjoyed getting to be that guy.
Yeah.
'Cause it's it's just closer to me.
No, you're entirely right. I mean, the viewers, I mean, we always like to add commentaries in these type of films, and we always look for that person we can connect with that's saying, what would you do? Well, hopefully one of these characters would relate to that, and without a doubt, it's Kory. David, I want to come back to you here. A big part of this film is the reveal, the monster reveal. And I think across the board, when you talk about horrors here, that's the element that the fans are looking forward to. Can you talk about how you work with this presentation? Can you get opportunity to also give flowers to your costume, makeup, and special effects design crew in terms of making which by the midway of this film, some of the most important scenes to really up the atmospheric core.
Definitely. I'm a big proponent of practical effects and practical makeup and creature effects. So, you'll be hard pressed to find me ever make a movie in my whole career that doesn't really lean heavily into that. And because we were going for a bit of like an 80s throwback look and feel, my approach was, we're going to shoot this like computers don't exist. So the monster on screen is going to be as real as anything else. So I went through a very meticulous process of designing the creature with starting with concept artist. And when you take your concept art and then you go to production to your creature effects design team, they have to then engineer it. And there's certain constraints, there's certain things you just can't do because they just won't work, and there's certain things that you can't afford. So you go through this process of changing and molding the original design until you get something that you can actually build. And that's what we did. And it was really important for me to create a monster that was unique, right? Because there's a lot of pieces of this monster that are inspired by other movies, but I really wanted something that was going to be striking, that people were going to look at and be like, wow, that's really something. Like, I've never seen something like that before, and it's terrifying. And I think that we pulled it off. I'm very proud of the result.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor, I have questions for you, and I want to be sensitive to the audience because I don't want to spoil anything to you. But you do have a very interesting interaction with the creatures. So I'm just wondering, upon taking a film in a genre as such, what is sort of your expectations in terms of the arc with your characters? Did you expect certain developments, not only with our creature, shall we say, but even with other characters? Was there any predicting going on here, or once you got into the script, you were just kind of caught off guard, but yet excited for it?
Yeah, I had no the script hides the ball exceptionally well. Um,
Yeah.
so reading it, I knew there was something off, and I think Damien's done a wonderful job in the film of indicating, yeah, something's wrong, but we don't know what's wrong. And then when it came to shooting it, at first I thought this is going to be a challenge to not know the things that I'm supposed, that I know as the performer. But then I sort of realized, like, well, no, again, that's always the challenge of an actor, is to pretend you don't know the ending. Like, we know how every scene goes, and we have to pretend that we're hearing it for the first time, and we don't know how the scene is going to end. So same job. And Kory, obviously, if we accept the reality of his existence, also doesn't know what is happening. So I just found that really exciting. And I said earlier that there is a real repeat watching element to this film, and there was reading it as well, which I did pretty much immediately once you know actually what's happening, to re-experience it and realize that it works. There really are no cheats once you know what's actually occurring in any of the conversations or in any of the practical things that happen in the story, which I thought was great. You can watch that
Yeah.
film knowing everything that's going on, and you get a really different experience. In some ways, it might be scarier on your second viewing once you can internalize what's actually happening in those scenes. Um,
Uh, it's entirely true, and to give a nod to Damien here is, the first time, given the opportunity to check out something early, you watch it for that enjoyability. I love a good horror. I love the good folks at Well Go USA. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of reasons you check boxes to say I want to check this out. So the first time I watch for enjoyment and like, okay, wow. Second time you watch it for research because prepping for opportunities such, and you start seeing in things that make you think, did I actually already watch this? You start finding new things with it. And I point to Damien because you talk about some of the themes in the film. I picked up on almost none of them the first time. The second time, I was like, okay. This gets moments of this surrealism within it, which one of my biggest elements in horror is the surrealism. Yes, I love a good creature feature. I love a good slasher, but that surrealism is what really connects. And Kory's one of my favorite characters in this film because he becomes that composite for us. That character that if we were in the film, this is that human element in terms of how we would navigate. Damien, I want to come back to you because and as I mentioned, the good folks at Well Go USA, they have a certain aesthetic to them. They love martial arts. They definitely feature a lot of international film. But when they do pick horror, they totally pick good ones. And I mean this in the most respectful way, but unorthodox, the ones that you don't typically see, that are built a very particular and unique way. With that being said, and knowing that you have the confidence with them behind you, what's sort of the mindset alongside of Shannon Wells to want to see this story forward? Because there's definitely more on the table. And as a fan now, I want to see where more of this story goes. Have you all got back to the table? You have to kind of reconvene about where you can go with the story going forward.
Not so much specifically with this story, but I am working with Shannon on another script right now. So there is more to come in that world. From Shannon and I together have pretty sick minds. So we're gonna come up with something pretty awesome for you.
I like you too. Make sure you call Connor too. Let's make it a dinner, all four of us. So ultimately, I want to ensure that for the fans coming into this film, Damien, what are some of the messages and some of the themes you really hope for them to pick up very early in this film?
Well, I mean, I have a very personal connection to the themes of addiction in the movie, and that's a very big part of the relationship between Charm and her mom. And also, I really love I really love the way that the movie explores philosophically the sort of intersection or juxtaposition or conflict between sort of the religion and the science subject, which I've always been fascinated with it, and I love it whenever a movie can sort of examine that in a way that's not preachy, but also it speaks to an audience in a way that they can relate to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And unfortunately, that Scout couldn't be here with us. Who her resume speaks for itself. Recently, one of my favorite games, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Shall I mention? I have to ask you, having a cast such as Scout, Annalise, Chrissy, Connor, as a director here, what's sort of that excitement for you?
I'm very pleased with my cast. I just feel comfortable and happy if I'm working with actors who show up. They show up, they're ready, they're prepared, they're excited, they know their lines, and we can have fun together, right? That's the most important thing for me. And I pay much less attention to like what their resume looks like, right? I just get that sort of it. For me, it's like it's really no different from working with like a great DP or like another great department head, a costume designer. You just want people who are good at what they do, and I feel like that my cast is that. They're good at what they do. They're very talented.
Agreed. And with the talent amongst your cast. I think you did a fantastic job in allowing them all moments in this film to really shine, which is again a testament to your work, but also a testament to their abilities, and that just ultimately makes for a good film. So I enjoyed this film, and I totally had an amazing time talking to you too about this. I will be keeping my eyes very close to see what your next project is, since you don't want to do anything other with this just yet. Maybe you'll come back to it. But nonetheless, thank you both for your time today. And I can't wait for the rest of the world to check it out.
Thank you, Niger. And let everyone know to pre-order it. They can pre-order it now on Apple.
Well, there you go. Well, you folks heard it from the man himself. Go ahead and pre-order it. I'll make sure I get that in the description below. And we'll be talking again very soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.